One of the interesting things when you look at the world is that we're seeing the world in different eyes. And one of the ways we can best understand this is going to be a little mathematics problem. So I want us to think about, if there are 30 people in a room, what is the percentage likelihood that 2 or more people share a birthday of day and month? How many people think it's a small number, let's say 5% or less? Out of 30. Small, 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 decent. How many people think maybe 5 to 10%? More. How many people think, let's say, up to 50%? How many people think more than 50? Okay, and what's the answer? 71%. So the correct answer, this is a mathematics problem, is 71%. Now, just to demonstrate this, my birthday's the 3rd of March. Anybody here has a match? Okay. Actually, there's one match already. It's a bigger room. I'll give one more thing. When is your birthday? 23rd of July. Anybody here? Yes, there's 2 matches here already. But actually, so what happens is that in our heads, we're egotistical. We think, what are the odds of somebody matching my date? It's the wrong mathematics. This is a mathematics of abundance, where we're not looking at a specific match. We're looking at a world of any match. The reason why I share this is that it allows us to show that we really can look at the world with fresh eyes. And with that, I'd like us all to introduce Andrea, who's going to talk to us about mobile payments and the future of mobile payments. Many thanks, Andrea. Andrea, sorry.
Hasn't understand where I'm coming from. I'm from Italy, okay? A great song. I hope there's not going to be any mobile phone ringing as it happened before. Anyway, thanks very much for coming here, and thanks for inviting me and inviting Visa to attend this great event in Bulgaria. It's my first time in Bulgaria, and I'm astonished about different things about the city, about the people. What I see is really a sort of very sparkling city, and something that was completely unexpected for me. And today I will talk about something extremely exciting from Visa, which is a major turning point for us as an organization in the way we are going to embrace a new type of technology, and we're going to let the people partner with us as we never did before. What I will do today is I will talk about API. Most of the people working in the fintech environment and startup, they know exactly what is API. But many people don't know that API is something that is completely changing the way we are consuming software and the way we are interacting for any type of service, including the payment. What happened is that since the digitalization, we have a major threat and opportunity, which is the fragmentation of the payment world, and most of all in the value chain of payment. We have a different type of entrant. You see here the might of Apple, Android, Amazon, Facebook. Everybody's entering here. There is a disintermediation, but in reality it's an opportunity. And there is an opportunity to make payment even simpler for the consumer, which in the end is exactly the person we want to please if we want to ensure that the payment, they are going to be successful. Today we had MasterCard presenting, and as well as Visa. The competitor of Visa is definitely not MasterCard, it's still cash. There is an untapped amount of cash to be taken into account. Today in Bulgaria, €1 out of 16 is spent on a Visa card. In the rest of Europe, it's €1 out of 5. We need to make sure that Bulgaria will move into this type of environment as well. And this is going to happen even faster than you can imagine, thanks to the fact that Bulgaria is very prone to also e-commerce and mobile commerce. Then let's see exactly what is a definition of API, a sort of holistic definition of API. An agreed open standard for requesting data from organization, software product, device, or components. Now, to better understand how important is an API, I just would like to bring you back in history, okay? And do an analogy about something similar to an API that has changed completely the world. Many people probably underestimate trade. trade is about logistics. Then let's go backward exactly, just to the mid of the 20th century, and look at one sector in particular. In the 20th century, shipping was done with a break bulk. The break bulk was a continuous chain of different type of shape, of container, of boxes, of bulk, all shipped into a boat. Definitely something that was not really optimal. Was one piece at a time. It definitely was something that was not ideal. Then what happened is that somebody had an idea just after the end of the Second World War. And the idea was the containerization. What they did was very, very simple. They create a box, but with an agreed standard, with a fixed size, with a fixed point to be collected and grabbed, okay? To be loaded quickly into a boat, taken out from a boat, and put in a train, into a lorry, and be shipped over the ground. What happened to this type of container? First container shipment was from two different harbors in the United States, from New Jersey to Houston in 1956. And it's very recent, 1956, 60 years ago, okay? Now, the container, now, today, they carry 90% of the global trade of goods around the world, over the sea and over the ground. 90%. Then the container, if today we have a globalization, if today we are be able to purchase goods from China in a matter of days and so on, it's thanks to this container. But imagine that they estimate that they're saying in 20 years, the global trade has increased 790%. These are staggering numbers if we consider. But what we should do is to see exactly what container got it right. And that will help us to understand exactly the value of the API. First of all, it was a standard, I said before, as a very consistent standard to be used in different way by any company within the supply chain. Then the confidence. If the container is always the same standard, everybody's confident it's always going to be that standard. What happened to the confidence? The confidence leads to innovation. Many other companies within the value chain, they add the service because they found out that the container was exactly that size, it was not going to change. Less predictable. Then different type of industry began to build other container. Then container building other container. Start to build a logistics center to pool container, more optimized. They even planned the extension of the Panama Channel based on a certain amount of size to bring ship that they were carrying at that exact amount of container. That was shaped exactly based on a unit, which is a single unit was a container. New entrant, immediately. Anybody who understood about container could be able to enter with a very lower bar, lower entry price. And the network effect, because we are all locking into a grid standard. And this is what happened for the API. What we should know before to enter into the culture of API is a bit about what are API in the context of product. A product itself, it provides a functionality. Functionality may be payment, may be loyalty, may be mapping, anything, and they are all part within one application. Then the API, what they're doing, they're connecting. They're connecting the product with the application and product. We always do the typical example of a famous taxi company, but any taxi company would be the same, would explain you. Don't expect that we have started a large, successful application to book a taxi has been developing a huge amount of software. What they've been using, they've been exploiting perfectly the concept of API. They are calling millions of times an API map provider to make sure they pick your location where to get a taxi. An API that is saying the final destination for the map. Another API that is able to show you exactly where the taxi that has been booked is coming. Then the API provider may be Google, maybe Yahoo, maybe Apple, provide the best quality map. Imagine how many millions call this application. But for the startup that built that application, they didn't have to develop the map. They just were calling the API. Then, at the end, with a very little effort, they create a great consumer experience. And the same is going to happen for the payment. In addition to the API, a big revolution has been creating an open platform. You heard about the acronym, AWS, Amazon Web Service. What Amazon did? They began to commoditize the cloud computing. Then for a small company, for a startup, they began to offer cloud computing as a commodity in order to be able to rely on computing power without having to do the investment, just with a fee. The commoditization of cloud computing. Today, it's not anymore startup. Today, the CIA is using a web service. Today, Nike, Pfizer, these companies are using. There is an increase on Amazon Web Service business, 80% per year. And this is incredible. Not only, Amazon is also improving analytics, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. Is as always an evolving part. Ultimately, it's going to be the consumer is going to define the experience. But the greatest opportunity that API offers us is to leverage and open a complete playing field for anyone who wants to develop a great application. In our investigation, the way we see, in the next coming year, if banks will stay relevant, they will need to stick to these 8 fundamental principles. Any application, any experience for the bank is going to be personalizable. It has to be instant and real time. People want to have an instant status. They don't want to know at the end of the day how much money is left into the account immediately. Available any platform or device. People don't want to be bothered changing iOS, changing tablet device, maybe wearable, doesn't really matter. Notification will arrive, will be delivered everywhere. Easy to manage. People want to be in control because card is not to lose control of the money, it's to get control of the money. It's cash where you lose control of the money. Smart in the real context. Simple. Simplicity is fundamental. One of the biggest mistakes we make sometimes, create complexity. With the complexity, we lose loads of customers off to the way. And then, cost reduction. Then deliver really efficiently the cost. Then, consumer, the payment is the minimum requirement. But on the top of the payment, consumer today expect the location, the card data, the fraud protection, notification. They expect loads of value-added service. It's not anymore about paying with a card. And that is exactly the value of mobile and the value of API. Our approach then is not only offer ourselves as the company that is giving you the plastic, but offering ourselves as an enabler of things. Then Visa, from made by Visa into enabled by Visa. And this is thanks to the API, we can offer this. We've been launching a Visa developer program where startups they can connect and immediately enter into a test environment and start to play with our API. These are our plugins we are going to offer. 3 different categories for our plugin. The payment experience, pay wave, contactless, checkout, the tokenization, the biggest major implication we had in terms of technology in the last 3 years. And then VisaNet with all the push payment. Push payment is a new way to perform payments. And then let's go a bit on history, because I like always to bring history as we talk about tokenization. Talk about containerization. Visa started in 1958, for people who don't know exactly where it began. It was a company in Fresno that began from Bank of America. But this company couldn't survive unless we were opening. Then Bank of America, in '66, began to license all the bank. We began to allow people to access money in 1980. And then, in 2016, we are opening again to the API. This is a way for us to open the sector and be more relevant in the next coming year. I think I'm run out of time, and I'll thank you very much for your attention, and we will continue to invest in authentication and different type of sector. Thank you again.